There are actually 5 elements, not 4. The 5th element is the most misunderstood. It's the hardest one to grasp, to understand. It's the one that is not counted as an element. This element is empty space. It's the complete void of existence. Understanding these elements brings you to a point of finding your true creative self, finding layers and points of your personality that you've always wanted to uncover in yourself. It's the most purest form of our existence, are the elements of reality and this earth that we experience. I myself, I meditate on these elements, whether if you're meditating on the fire element. When you do this, a good way of meditating on a fire element is actually watching a fire, sitting down or standing, getting close to the fire in its natural element, watching it burn, watching it turn the energy that it's consuming. It's transmuting, it's transforming the energy of wood or whatever the fire may be on into ether, into spirit. Tapping in to these elements and meditating with these elements brings a whole nother understanding to your reality. It brings a whole nother peace and patience to your personality. And I myself have really broke the boundaries of my creative endeavors. It has really brought me to terms to my true creative power in myself. The most powerful element that I have meditated on in all the 5 would be the element of empty space, vastness. In doing this, you have to find yourself lost. You have to become lost. You have to become lost in everything you do. You have to become lost in your love. You have to become lost in your practices that you do every day. The polarization that this brings is focus. When you become lost in everything that you do, your focus comes into play. Think about it. If you're out in the forest and you find yourself completely lost, your senses heighten, your focus becomes one objective, is to be found, is to get out of the forest, back to society, back to your car, wherever you may be. So the moment you move towards this emptiness, this vastness, the chambers and the depths of yourself come out, unlocking abilities, creative potential, ideas, unlocking things that you never knew that were inside of you. Yes, water is a very, very powerful element. Meditating on water, you really tap into the fluid of things. You really tap into the ability to move smoothly in everything that you do. But without the element of empty space, without that element, you're not able to fully inherit the abilities of the four that are remaining. So it's essential to master the empty space, master the emptiness. A lot of people believe you just to go out and start meditating and bring yourself to a state. But to be honest with you, there's many keys to meditation that most people don't even know about. Just like any understanding or any point of origin, you have to have two. So you have to have the polar opposite of everything you're trying to become. You have to understand both. To see yourself, you must mirror. You must look into a mirror to see yourself. So if you want to meditate, first you must become active. Whether it's physically active, whether it's active mentally. Really, you need to activate your whole body, your whole physical self, and your mental as well. And then you meditate. Once you've come close to those 2 points of origin, those polar opposites, then you're able to open up a stream of meditation. Meditation it's kind of like a common ground. Once you find that common ground, you can go either way to each polarity, whatever opposites that you're working with. So in the 5 elements, just like a star, you move to each one. Going into your meditation, you can start with earth. Depending on where you're at, depending on your mood, I start with earth a lot. And from there you can move throughout. Sometimes it's good to go from earth to air, and then to fire, and to water, and then empty. Mastering the empty is essential. It's the most difficult one to understand, but it's the easiest one to access once you polarize all your opposites in your meditation. I have found endless streams of creation in empty meditation, in the element of empty meditation. There's a difference now. You can't just be like, I want to become empty. Well, how do you know what emptiness is if you do not access the emptiness properly, if you do not use the proper keys to access the empty space? Because just like any room, just like any place you go, you have to get there. You have to know how to get there. Whether it's a mountain that you climb, whether it's a tree that you admire, that you've seen in a photo. You have to know the trail to get to that tree. You can't just imagine it and be there. And poof, that's like make-believe. You have to know the steps. You have to know the keys that open those locks that bring you in to the empty space. Mastering the element meditation of the 5 elements will give you all the keys. You learn your polarities that bring you there. For fire, a polarity for fire in your meditation. You can also look at this as a yin and a yang with your polarities. with your opposites. For me, I start with wood. Okay? So the opposite of wood, okay, would be ash. See what I'm saying? Anything that you're burning in life, you see that item, and then you see that item as it's already been burned. You can see it as smoke as well. That is the opposite of the fire. You don't think of the fire itself, you think of what the fire does. The fire purifies. If you were to have fire on you, it would burn. Of course it would. Do not want to put yourself in any kind of fire or harm's way in these processes or acts. So don't actually play with fire. This is something that you're tapping into spiritually in the ether. So you imagine what the fire can do, and that's where you find your polarities. So if you want to become fire, if you want to use fire in your life, for me, when I use fire to regulate or to balance my life, because I see it more as a balance, a renewer. I don't imagine the problem that I'm trying to solve on fire. I imagine something that I've believed was giving me benefit in my life. A place that caused me harm that I believed. There are certain places that I have been to and certain homes that I lived in that caused me a lot of pain and suffering. Places and situations that I was in. And thinking of those hard times burning down and looking at the polarity of them, looking at the result, the smoke, the smells of what it would smell like, what it would feel like if those places were to be gone in my life, those memories were to burn. And thus I find my polarities. And then I can move throughout that polarity, whether I'm in the middle in my meditation, just like an equalizer. If you're turning your volume up and down, you move towards more of the smoke, the char, or you move towards more of the solid, or the ignition of the fire. Then you really break through the powers of fire meditation. So for Earth, when I meditate on Earth, I meditate on a structure of Earth, whether it's a giant rock, whether it's a beach or quicksand. Quicksand's a really good one. I've done quicksand before because it relates to Earth on a big level. Sand relates to Earth. Quicksand, you think of Earth, you think of sand, you think of rock. So what are the polar opposites of quicksand? So the polar opposite of quicksand, that would be solid rock. No element yet of the quicksand. No quicksand that you're actually seeing, but you're seeing a solid surface of rock or stone, maybe in the forest or somewhere. And then you want to imagine this rock becoming eroded. Then you want to imagine trees and roots taking in, and rains, and time. It's very good to think about time when you think of Earth, because the Earth is so affected by time and consequence. You think of these different pockets where this quicksand can evolve, and thus you have your polarity. And in between this event, this polarized event, is how you balance your meditation for Earth. So yes, I will cover more of these meditations in my videos. I'm also an artist. I'm a recording artist, sound engineer. I'm a multi-instrumental. I'm a musician. Okay, I play multiple instruments. This YouTube thing is new to me, so I guess I've been lost for too long. So yeah, you can check out my link. It's down below for my music. I am working on a lot of music right now that I will be releasing in 2026 and 2027. It's kind of like my life's work. I'm very dedicated to my craft, playing the piano and singing. So yeah, check that out, and I will cover more stuff with my meditations and my ideologies on these elements, especially empty space and being lost, because you have to get lost first, okay, and then you're able to take on the meditation of empty space. I'm going to do a whole entire video on meditation of empty space. So yeah, you guys check that out. Thank you so much.